If I do not sell to you, if I don't give you an opportunity to work with you, then there's no way that I can serve you. Marketing is when you let the world know about you and your product. Selling is when you persuade them to take their card and swipe, because the psychology is the way you buy is the way you sell. The reason why, my big why I started my business is I didn't want to trade time for money. I didn't want to work until 66 and then retire and sit with my pension. So I was only thinking of how do I make money while I sleep. I was able to deliver because I had a team to deliver. And this is one thing that I want you all to understand as business owners. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be it all. Just you have to know the right person who can deliver the job, stay in your lane or stay in your zone of genius and delegate the rest. Asking a lot of questions, really, really being curious so that 1 hour when I block for a sales call, I'm not thinking about anything. It's about that client, right?
Hey everyone. Welcome to Pivot to Thrive podcast. This is your ultimate destination to elevate your mindset, marketing, and sales strategies for ultimate business growth. I'm your host, Dr. Priya, and I'm here to inspire and guide you on your journey to financial independence. My mission in life is very simple: to empower entrepreneurs like you with simple, actionable insights and easy to implement strategies that will transform your online business into a thriving success. Now, here's the deal. If your current strategy in life or business isn't working, don't quit. Just pivot. And it's important you understand that the goal for pivoting life and business isn't just to adapt and survive, but to truly thrive in growth, success, and abundance. So, in this podcast, we'll dive deep into the mindset shifts you need to break free from cultural barriers and embrace your true potential. We'll discuss cutting-edge marketing and sales techniques that you can apply to your business right away. Together, we'll create a powerful belief system that'll guide you towards the life you truly desire. So, grab a cup of coffee or even a fancy glass of wine, and let's start pivoting towards the success you've always dreamed of.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome along to this very first session about science and psychology of online sales. As we all know, if a business does not have the right marketing and sales, it's just an expensive hobby. I say this all the time because I had one when I was a side hustler. So that's why I kind of started niching down into marketing and sales, because if there's no marketing and sales, then a business cannot sustain. And it's a very, very important part. And for me as a consultant, I think I can better articulate my clients' return on investment with marketing and sales, because it's something tangible that we can measure. We can set KPIs, especially online. It's a whole different world. And that's why I specifically mentioned the digital world, online world, because in person, most of you might do some kind of networking, BNI, Chamber of Commerce, BX, other networking events. So it's very different when people see you, feel your energy, build that know, like, and trust factor pretty quickly. But online, it's a crazy world there. It's not for everybody, but trust me, it's like training that muscle and you will get it pretty quickly. But you just have to understand the science and psychology of it. That's why I call it science and psychology, because those are really, really important. It's not just you go and you can sell to people on the face, though you do have the choice of doing that. Okay, so it's going to be interactive. Please don't make it boring. Make it interactive. Keep it engaging. Keep the chat engaged when you have questions. The key thing that we're going to do is pretty much work on the mindset. Okay, so mindset is really, really key, because I want you to understand why you have to sell in the first place, because selling equals serving. I think that's the psychology that I want you to take away today. If I do not sell to you, if I don't give you an opportunity to work with you, then there's no way that I can serve you. There's no way I can actually provide my services, value add to your business, give you some kind of things. So mindset is key. So we're going to really, really readjust our thinking towards sales, because if I'm going to ask you a question, who loves sales? Can you comment in the chat who loves sales? Then we can really, really assess what kind of audience I've got here. Is it going to be a hard sell? Is it going to be an easy sell? Okay. Carly is not confident about selling. What about others? Quickly in the chat, please, so we can move on. We've got a lot to cover today. Who here loves sales? Good question, Selena. Marketing is when you let the world know about you and your product. Selling is when you persuade them to take their card and swipe. So they're two different aspects. So marketing is about getting visibility. I can just market myself saying I'm the greatest digital expert, the great sales coach or the great business coach or great migration consultant. But for somebody to actually take their card and sell, you need the right psychology and science in your wordings, in your call, in your method of persuasion to actually take their card and swipe. It's really not easy for people to take their card and swipe. So that's the difference between marketing and sales. From people knowing you, that's just marketing. And selling is actually when people decide to work with you. Okay, so it's not Sam's favorite task. I've not made a sale since January in my business, so it feels like it has eluded me. I feel like I'm really bad at sales. No, so we're going to change that. It's not about you. Don't make it all about you. So I don't think most of us would say, oh, wow, I love sales. I used to be that person, right? I hate selling. Selling feels icky to me. People are going to judge me if I'm going to sell. From now, I can really sell to people on the face if I want to. And that's been a 5-year journey. And it has taken me a long time to unlearn a lot of conditioning, childhood conditioning, especially coming from India. There is a lot of childhood conditioning attached to money, asking for money. And there's so many things. So I'm not going to get into the woohoo stuff of all of that, but I just want to let you know that it's not an overnight success or a very, very short-term win. It was I'm still a work in progress, I must say, but I'm like so much better than where I was before. Okay. Do you love being sold to? Answer in the chat, please. So do you love being sold to? If someone is trying to sell to you, do you feel icky? Do you run away? Or do you love being sold to? No, you feel pressured. If I need the thing they're selling. Okay. Government funded free for participant that I promote have found sales the program challenging as people think it's too good to be true. Yeah, I do get that all the time. Too good to be true. It depends on how it's done and how manipulated. See the words we use when it comes to sales. Manipulated. I like seeing the methods. Okay, I'm like Jody. I'm the same. I love being sold to, and I call it different things. So I don't know if you know this guy called Aaron Sansoni. So one of my friends, like husband and wife couple, they paid $100,000 for a business coaching for a 1-year program to Aaron Sansoni. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. If someone can take $100,000 from somebody, I want to see his process. So I literally went to his 1-day free event at Brisbane Convention Center, 9 to 5, and I called it event hacking because I come from the sales funnel university and I learned funnel hacking, meaning you see the process, how a funnel is built, a sales funnel is built, and you don't have to rebuild it. You just hack the whole process and tweak it to your methodology. That's smart work. It's like ethically stealing some process that's already working fine. So it's the curiosity that would make you love being sold to. Saying yes or no ultimately comes to you, but I love being sold to. I love when it's a good salesperson. I appreciate them. Like I had gone last week just to change the screen protector for my mobile phone. And you know what that guy did? He literally, I've never opened my iPhone cover. Like I've never taken this thing off. And he took the thing. And that's when I realized the back of my iPhone was cracked. And then instead of just getting the screen protector, I ended up buying the phone guard. I ended up buying a new cover and things because he actually showed me the problem that I had that I didn't realize it was my blind spot. And those are the things. I'm like, you're such a good salesman. I love when people upsell me onto something that I actually didn't know that I needed. And it's just staying curious. Okay. It's not even something related to my business, right? So it's just being curious that really, really helps. So I'll also let you know why it's important for you to understand whether you love sales or not, because it directly reflects on your business performance. For example, if you're wanting to sell a $10,000 product, but you have never paid $10,000 to grow yourself or your business, you will never be able to basically get that money or confidently sell a $10,000 product because you've not been a buyer yourself. You have not been a consumer yourself, because the psychology is the way you buy is the way you sell. Right. So if you don't have the openness and the abundance mindset to spend $10,000 to develop yourself and your business, there are very less chances you will be able to do justice in articulating the value that you bring for $10,000 because it will feel like a massive money. It's basically the mindset blocks that we don't know that very subtly or even sometimes very loudly influences your sales process. So we're going to break down each and everything today, but I thought I need to start by understanding and making you understand the importance of mindset, because it's all about understanding once you're ready. I take a lot of time before I take an action. I sit and marinate with my thoughts. I sit and really, really think about it. I work a lot with my head. I overthink. But when I take a decision, then I start moving really, really faster. So that process of sitting in your head for a long time, we'll try to shorten it today if the session is successful. All right. So I've changed the slide now. I know for repeated people, you've never seen this because this is my very, very recent meeting with my team. As you know, my business is called Pivot to Thrive. I used to be a business coach, but I moved away from coaching and I'm more in a digital agency model now. So I work with a CRM called Go High Level. So this is my team in India. So I have trained 33 women to work with me as virtual assistants. They help me with admin, social media, marketing tasks. So we had our first ever meeting. I'm still joining from India. I'm leaving next Thursday to Australia. So for the next month webinar, I'll be in Australia. So I've been here 2 months. The reason I'm able to holiday work for 2 months in India and my business and my lead pipeline is not affected. In fact, I'm more busy than I was ever, is because I've got all the systems in place and my system works for me 24/7. All the business automations have been done. So the Go High Level team is in Pakistan. It's an all male team in Pakistan. All women team in India is the admin and social media tasks. So three things to define my business. One is digital products. So I strongly believe in digital products because without digital products, you will be trading time for money. And one thing, the reason why, my big why I started my business is I didn't want to trade time for money. I didn't want to work until 66 and then retire and sit with my pension. So I was only thinking of how do I make money while I sleep? Okay. Because there's only so many hours in the day. So if I'm going to trade time for money, then I'm going to be trading till I die. So how can I maximize that? How can I not trade my time? That's how I found it. Digital products. So this webinar is a digital product. How do I get leads? How do I get more visibility? How do I get sales? This is one among my lead generation platforms. I've got email marketing in place. I've got social media marketing in place. I've got collaborations. I've got networking. I've got different lead pipelines that actually funnel into my offers. So it's worked really, really well. I'm super grateful. In 5 years, I've been able to achieve the lifestyle goal that I wanted, because income goal seems very hustly. You know, you hustle, you look at the number and then you feel depressed and then you repeat the cycle once again. That's why I set lifestyle goals for myself, because parents are aging, my in-laws are aging. I wanted to travel at least twice a year and stay with them and still make money. Nothing gets affected. I didn't have to ask for a holiday. So the big why, when people said, oh, revisit your why or understand your why, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't kind of sink in me. But then when I actually understood, yes, my why is much bigger than just make money or just have a business or just feed my ego and passion. It was more when my parents got COVID and I couldn't travel and I was like, I didn't want to live this life anymore. So that was kind of my epiphany moment. But here we are, super grateful. We had an entire weekend of learning, party, fun, shopping, all the good stuff. So this is my new slide. And I love rewarding my VAs, the ones that have done well. So they were really surprised when I offered them a trophy. So really, really happy that I got to meet them in person. It's a very different energy meeting people in person. So that's a very, very brief introduction of what I do, why I do what I do. So now we can get into sales call. I don't even see many people calling it a sales call. If you're from the online business world, people use a lot of things like discovery call, get on a demo call with me. If it's a tool, then obviously you call it a demo call, but people use a lot of things. Discovery call, what are the other fancy names that they use? But nobody uses the word sales. Okay. I use the word sales call because it sets the expectation up front. Okay. I am going to sell to you at the end of the call, because if I don't sell you, then I can't work with you. Like, what is the important differentiation between people who just have a conversation, you just have a coffee with somebody or you meet someone at a networking event, or getting on a Zoom call to actually discuss your business is sales. That's the aspect that's going to set the expectation, set the boundaries, and set the tone for the particular call. Okay. So when I get on a discovery call, it's a very different atmosphere. Like I talk about, hey, how are you today? How's the weather in Brisbane? Oh my God, it's hot here. So sales call, we get straight into the call. You greet the person who's there and you kind of set the stage right. So that's what we're going to see. Okay. And it's also, I say there are three key components in an important sales call. All right. So the first thing, it's basically a conversation. It's not just you talking. I used to do this all the time when I started initially, I would not shut up. Okay. It was just me peacocking that I'm great, I'm that, I'm this, but it's not about me. It took me like multiple hard slaps on the face to realize that it was not converting, right? My sales close rate was 20%, which means I was crap. I was not doing something right. It was just me talking. I would never let the other person talk, and it was just about me. I made it about me. And the close rate will tell you whether you're doing the things right or wrong. So now I've got 94% close rate, which means I'm doing something right, right? So it's a conversation, it's a two-way, it's a dialogue, and it's also an opportunity for you to articulate to the client that how you can change their life, okay, or how your services, your products can change their life. And you only allow the client to see the possibility to dream big. I'll tell you this example. Okay. So when I'm very new to the Go High Level world, the reason I think I'm more successful than people who have had the agencies for 2 years, who I know in my networking groups, is because they get so obsessed with the nitty gritty aspects of the tech stuff. Okay. They're very fiddly with the tech stuff, which most business owners, you all can understand. You go into the platform, Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, you try to fix your blog, you try to work on your website, you do stuff, you get so fiddly, you waste so much time, but you don't understand the big picture. Okay. I got 5 clients within the first 3 weeks of understanding Go High Level while I was on my free trial. Okay, I got my subscription money through affiliate commission because I could articulate the big dream big factor of Go High Level. It's a massive, massive software. It can do wonders for your business. So I understood the platform, its functionality, its importance, and I could sell to people the dreaming big factor. With this automation, you would be able to achieve this. But I don't know the how, right? But I knew the why. So I sold people on why, and I could get 5 clients. I didn't scam them. I was able to deliver because I had a team to deliver. And this is one thing that I want you all to understand as business owners. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be it all. Just you have to know the right person who can deliver the job, stay in your lane or stay in your zone of genius, and delegate the rest. And that was something that I would truly, truly attribute to my success is I never sweat about learning everything. I don't know the stuff about GHL, the nitty gritty stuff. I don't have to. Okay. I'll only ask the client, okay, this is what you want. I'm going to check with my team, get back to you whether that is possible or not. Okay. But I'm open in telling people I don't know this. I'm not the tech person, but I am responsible for this. I take complete responsibility for the deliverables. I take complete responsibility. If something goes wrong, I'm going to fix it for you. But before giving you a proposal, I'm going to go back to the team and check if this is possible or not, come back with options to you. So I'm very honest and upfront. On a webinar, I'm telling you, I don't know this, but I can sell you on that because I know the functionality. I know what it can deliver, but I don't know the how it can deliver. That's taken care by the team. Okay. So your job on a sales call is to let the client know that they can dream big, and you would be the catalyst in making it achieve faster, quicker, in the most efficient way. Okay. And also, there's no point in sugarcoating. All right. You're not helping the client by being nice. All right. The Indian in me will be out on a sales call. Okay. And I'll be like, you're not going to like what you're going to hear, but I want you to hear this. This is what you need to hear. All right. So you are not helping the client if you're going to sugarcoat and put it in a very nice diplomatic way. You have to just tell them, this is what is costing you money. This is where you're leaving a lot of money on the table. This is not for me to get the sale, but I'm telling you, you can go to anybody but fix this issue because this is the gap that you feel. So they shouldn't feel pressured. I know somebody mentioned in the chat, they feel pressured when they're being sold to. So the pressure comes when you force them that they have to come to you. They have to work with you. They have to sign up today within 4 hours. That's scarcity marketing when you force them to do it. But when you actually tell them that this is the gap in your business, you can take your time, decide on this, but this is something that I want you to fix, and then your business will grow. So there's a way how you articulate it without being pushy, salesy, icky. So that's what is all about sales call. And it takes practice. It really, really takes time for you to get to that stage where you're not icky, but you're still able to persuade them. Okay, so being persuasive is the word. All right. And sales call is an opportunity to understand the real problem. All right. So when people come, the first thing they say, okay, I don't have a business, I don't have sales, but I don't have the money, right? I don't have the money now. Or even when people post on Facebook, they're like, I don't want services that cost me an arm and a leg, and so many different things. But when you actually go and sit down and talk to them, money is not the problem. They just think they can't afford, or they just feel scared they'll be ripped off. But the underlying real problem could be really, I mean, when I used to be a business coach, 65% of the calls or the issues we troubleshoot is a relationship coaching. I used to be more of a relationship coach than a business coach. So because that's where it comes from, what the husband said is stuck in her head, and she will go on a loop and loop and loop and never sell because she's stuck to the words her husband said and she made it about her. So there's so many different things that is the underlying problem, which is actually not the real problem in the business, but it's stopping them from achieving the income goals. All right. And sales call is also an opportunity to offer a step-by-step plan to get the client what they want. So you have to understand point A, where the client is right now, point B, where the client wants to go. And your job is to give them a simple step-by-step plan, not any techie jargons, any very, very high-level things that they don't understand. Like I said, it's not peacocking who you are. It's about giving them a step-by-step plan where they can get step point A to point B in the shortest, easiest, quickest way possible. Okay. So I always believe in 10x value. You pay me $1,000, you get value for 10 grand, right? So in that case, the step-by-step plan should be something realistic that they can go and implement in their business straight away. Even if they don't pay you, they have to feel guilty that they got so much value out of the free conversation than somebody they paid for their coaching like 10 years ago. So I think that's what I like to make people feel, is guilty for getting stuff for free. You provide so much value on the call that they can go and implement something straight away. And asking a lot of questions, I call it the triaging questions. Asking a lot of questions, really, really being curious, so that 1 hour when I block for a sales call, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not thinking about my kids. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to eat. I'm not thinking whether I'm hungry or not. It's about that client, right? So really, really being curious on thinking about the client and how you can help them be. I was extremely selfish. Like even my tagline used to be the only business coach in the market who does marketing for you, because I had a team, right? I was so selfish. I tell people I was so selfish. I was coaching clients, but everybody comes back the next week and say, oh, Priya, I'm sorry, I couldn't do the work that you told me because I didn't have the time. So I'm like, what is the most ethical, legal way to make people do it? Because I'm an Indian mom, I whack my kids on the bum and make them do stuff, right? So I can't do that to my clients. So what's the most legal, ethical way I can make them do stuff is integrating a VA team, and my VA team will take care of your marketing wing. So that's how I started. So my tagline used to be the only business coach in the market who does marketing for you. So that was my point of difference. So being really, really curious, being selfish in getting your clients results should be your point of difference. Okay. So if I have to summarize in one line, your job on a sales call is to extract as much information as possible from the client, their issues, their goals, their objectives, and triage the problem, because really you have to understand, get to the root of the problem, and you get there with practice. So it's not just one question. Hey, tell me more about your business. Oh, you don't have sales? I'm sorry. Okay, let's just build a pretty sales funnel and it'll be fixed. No, it'll not be fixed, right? You actually triage and understand what is the root of the problem, what is causing them not to sell. So they could be somebody who is so conservative with their money, very, very limited money mindset. They've never spent 5 grand on any product or service, but they're trying to sell a 10 grand product. It doesn't work like that, because energetically you're not ready, right? So people can sense your energy when you're selling, in your confidence, in the way you project yourself. So all that is very subtle, but those are really, really important when you sell. And offer a treatment plan, basically a step-by-step plan to get from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time possible. Is that good? Any comments, suggestions, feedback? This is in a nutshell of what we're going to look at, but we're going to look at everything in a detailed manner. Let me look at the chat. Okay, mindset blocks. I find it hard to think about spending money on marketing because of that mindset. True. Thank you for admitting that. Not a lot of people accept it, admit it. I'm glad, Amanda, you admitted it, because this is one thing that's stopping people from spending, right? All right. So any questions, anything? Are we good before we move on? All right, cool. So what sales calls not? Okay, so sales calls, people think they have to get a yes on a sales call, like immediately. I used to be this person, like, tell me whether you want to work with me. Okay, I'll send you an invoice. So that was just my ego and my brain needing evidence when you're new in business. Because when you get a no, you make it about you, right? And you take it as a rejection. So sales call is not an opportunity for you to force the client to say yes, because first, you need money. If I need money, I would go back to a job, right? So that is my solution if I need money. So if a client is saying yes, it basically feeds your brain to believe that it's working. So you just need that dopamine hit. All right. It's not about the money. Most of us, if I ask all of you who are here to say, oh, is it about money? You'll be like, no, it's not about the money. I just want to help people. I love helping people. This is what most people say, right? But without that money, that energetic commitment, it doesn't work. All right. The reason people block their time in their calendar and spend time with you is because you have actioned an invoice and they're committed to serving you for that 1 hour of their time. All right. So do not force them to say yes or change their perspective, really, really going and telling them, what are you doing? Whatever you're doing is wrong, right? You admit it. So don't get all defensive. And like I said, it's not an opportunity to rant about you and your services. It's not about you. And a lot of people use this particular thing to use shame. Okay, really shame the client in saying, oh my God, you don't have any marketing, you don't spend $1 on this, or that's why you're not growing. So no, you just make them feel, what are the odds that people are going to look at you if nobody knows how great you are? So there are different ways that you can articulate the point that you say, but shame is not one of them. All right. So sales call is not an opportunity to shame the client and force them to sign up. Unless I've seen people use it on me. You're like, oh, if you're not signing up with me, this is why you never grow. I've had an extremely narcissistic, racist man. I even shared on my LinkedIn about my experience. He was extremely racist, he was shaming everyone in the room. And I'm glad there was one person, he was a senior guy, must be 50, 60 plus. He stood up and he swore at him. He said, you just don't blank. And I was like, wow, he has the guts to actually say that, because we were 117 people in the room and everybody was shamed left, right, and center. So there are still people using that technique, which still works, because I saw people swiping their cards for $50,000 straight away because of that shame they received from him. So the strategy still works for few people, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. Okay. All right. It's not a market research call. So market research call is different, right? Market research is when you're trying to understand the market. So there are lots of Facebook groups. When I was new, I used to say, hey, I'm trying to understand this market. Will somebody be free for a 10-minute Zoom call or 10-minute survey? That you're genuinely saying about market research, you're not going to sell people on that call. All right. So you're not doing market research on a sales call. It's not free coaching. I tell people, you've not paid me enough. You've not paid me to coach you. All right. So free coaching is, especially when you're a coach, you just want to coach. You just want to tell people how great you are. You just want to tell people if there's an opportunity to help, you just start coaching. But that is something where you set your boundaries and say, I'm not going to coach them unless they pay me, because they're not ready for the tough love yet, right? They're here to understand the problems in their business and whether you can help or not. That's it. You're not going to go into the how. You're not going to tell them exactly what to do. You're not going to go coach or mentor them. All right. And it's not a place where you sugarcoat and tell them only what they would like to hear. It's not an option for you to force your idea or give them instructions. Okay, so these are the ways where you're actually not selling, because you're doing one or more of these on a sales call. So a brief about what is a sales call, what is not a sales call, is more about the signs of the sales call, I would say. Now let's go into the structure of the sales call. So I used to have a separate presentation on this one slide. I'll go into the details of people, value, and offer. If I can summarize in one formula what is a sales call, it would be this. Okay. People, meaning who you're trying to sell to, what value is, what problem are you solving, and your offer is what is the product or what is the service that you're offering to solve that particular problem. So if you can articulate all these three in 1 hour or 30 minutes conversation. I don't believe when people say, I can offer you a 15-minute free Zoom conversation, and I go, in 15 minutes, how are you going to understand me, my problem and business? I'm somebody who really, really values time. Like, time is the most expensive commodity. If you've heard me speak, I only speak about this. Time is the only thing that I care about. But I cannot get on a 15-minute call with somebody and I can troubleshoot their life or provide actual value, because it takes time for people to open up. It takes time for people to build up that relationship, to actually feel comfortable in that safe space to open up. And 15 minutes is not that time limit. So I believe in 1 hour conversations where you actually get to know the client. And especially after the 45th mark, like 45 minutes is when they really, really open up. I've seen that using all my experience. But 1 hour is a pretty good time for you to build that relationship, to understand their problem, and to provide value. So this is my formula for a sales call. People is the business owner involved, their teams involved. So value is the problem that you are trying to solve, and what is the actual product or service that you're trying to solve. So that is what is summed up in a sales conversation. Okay. I talk about energy a lot because people don't value it. I'm somebody who's all about tangible outcomes, about KPIs, ROIs, but energetics is really, really important because it's subtle. It does play a huge role. All right. So if you have to describe your thoughts about sales call in one word, it's an interesting exercise. Go in the chats and say, if I say the word sales or sales call, what is the very first word that comes to your mind? Fear, good, pushy, dread, inauthenticity. Mm-hmm. Okay, any more? Okay, so the reason I want you to understand is we are doing a self audit, right? So, what is stopping us from selling is you answered your own question. These are the things that is stopping you from selling is basically fear. You dread, you find you being pushy, you fear being judged, you fear rejection. So, it can be in any different forms, but you don't even have to share in the chat. But I want you to spend few seconds to understand what comes to your mind, because that is your block. That is what is blocking you from selling. Okay. So I want you to understand that sales call can be life changing and transformational. Okay. So when I was side hustling, I spoke to a lady. She's based on the Sunshine Coast, I think. She used to live in an acreage. She was all alone. She had a dog. She had some less mortgage. She's been working with a corporate company for years, right? And she was doing during COVID, she started selling from an acreage property flower bouquets, and it went really well. She got so busy that she can actually quit her job, even go part time. But it was a fear, right? She had no commitments other than a very tiny mortgage. But my suggestion to her was don't quit, go point eight. Like go 4 days a week, take a day, 1 day of your full. That's what I did when I was working. I took Wednesdays off to focus on my business. So I was point eight in my university job, and 1 day was for my business. So that is what helped me transition full time, right? So I told her from my experience, this is what I'm doing right now. It's working great for me. So, but that just fear, right? She didn't have a huge family to feed. There was no big financial commitments, but that fear of losing that 1 day of work is real, right? And she just couldn't do it. I said, okay, I respect. And whenever you're ready, you know to do it. But all I can say is that'll be the first step for you forward. It was on a sales call, right? I didn't even sell her anything. I just told her this would be one thing that we want to do. After 1 year, I get such a long message from her saying she was able to go to point six, and that conversation helped her to take that decision. And she thanked me in that big email, right? So every call that you have, every conversation that you have with a potential client, I just want you to believe it can be life changing. It can be truly transformational for you, for the client, for your business, everything. If somebody can come back after 1 year and send you an email, it does not equal to $1 million check. That's just me. That's how I feel, right? So the impact, I focus on three things: income, impact, and influence. I'm not someone who says, oh, money is not important. No, money is definitely important. Okay. So definitely focusing on these three areas kind of covers everything: income, impact, and influence. I focus on all these three. There are a few things in India that I do just for impact because I don't focus on money generating activities. I used to, sorry. I just registered two companies last week, one in a partnership and one a standalone company. So now my focus is about income generation because I've actually registered a business here in India and I'm going to grow that business. But until now, my perspective about India was just growing my impact and influence. Right now, I'm incorporating the income factor in me. So I want you to believe every conversation you have is an opportunity to change the life of that particular person. Okay. And I told you the way you buy is the way you sell. Okay. So you as a buyer, if So many people don't even get on a conversation to ask, what is the price of my services? How much will I charge for it? Because they fear once they request a proposal, once they request information about my services, then they're obligated to work with me. Right. So they just, even in BNI, that's what people do. They don't even sit down and ask you the pricing of your services. But if I work, so I asked an automation guy to help me with my onboarding like 3 years ago. And then people started asking me, how much did he charge you? Because they were so scared to ask him for the prices. So they asked me, how much did I pay him? So this is the psychology. If you're going to stay in that fear bubble that, you don't know how much they're going to charge, they're going to rip you off, then that fear will stop you from selling as well. So I had to really, really go down and understand. When I go into a shop, I look at things and I'm like, what made me buy? Okay. I really audit myself a lot when I go spend money, because that's a psychology then I'm going to incorporate in my selling process. Okay. But there's also a subtle difference. The way you buy is not the only way that people buy. Okay. I'll say it once again. The way you buy is not the only way everyone else buys. Okay. If you are somebody who has never bought something off an email newsletter, for example, then you would say, Priya, I don't believe in email newsletter because I've never bought anything off newsletters, right? But just because you didn't buy, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Right? There are people making millions of dollars just of email newsletters. So I want you to understand, audit the way you as a buyer work in terms of psychology, but also be open and understand that there will be different styles of buyers, okay, to whom you're going to sell. All right. So there are two different things. One, for you to sell, you need to understand you as a buyer. That's about it. All right. I'm making you understand you as a buyer because you're going to sell. But when you're catering to a wide range of audience, your style of buying is not the only style of buying. So there are different styles of buying. So be open to that. Okay. All right. So allow yourself to be uncomfortable in being sold. So this is one thing that I did. I would get on sales call. I would say I was coach shopping. Okay. But I was only three people I spoke to, and then I decided one. So I used to be like, oh, what is she doing? Okay. This was a structure. I used to literally dissect their sales process. I used to really audit what she's trying to do. What is the psychology? What question did she ask? Okay, so what is she trying to achieve with that question? So there was a guy called Richard who was very, very good at this. And every slide and every conversation of his webinar, I had to record. I was making notes. He didn't allow call recording. So I was making massive notes. This is the slide. This is the question he asked. And this is what he was trying to achieve, right? Because he used to get extremely good, like 6-figure closes after his webinar. So I was trying to dissect his webinar format. So you have to allow yourself in being comfortable in being sold. That's a first step for you to understand you as a buyer. Okay. And this is very important. When you're going on a sales call, I want you to understand objections. So I've got different slides to understand objections, but you should know what people are going to throw at you. Okay. I don't want you to be startled. Oh my God, she asked this question. What do I answer? Right. So 3 things that I get as objection. Priya, I don't have the time. Priya, I don't have money. I have to ask my spouse. Time, money, and spouse were my biggest objections, even till today. Any business, I think these 2 or 3 will be the common ones. So I've got my responses ready for people, whatever they say, whatever objections they say, I've got my response ready. So I don't give like a plug and use template, but I kind of know how to overcome that objection, right? And there are objections that you can never say, like if I didn't build this lifestyle where I can be in a different country for 2 months and still be working and making money, I can't say to people, hey, you can do that when I haven't done it myself, at least me. That's how authentic I am. I cannot tell you something or tell you that I can help you with something if I've not done it myself. So my business is basically what I do, what I've achieved. I can help you do the same. Okay. So that's what I've done. And that's why I believe in this. So your job on a sales conversation is only to help them see the context of the problem. All right. This is the gap that is making you leak money. That's not making money, and what is the impact it can create. Okay, if I'm going to tell somebody, okay, Go High Level subscription is 197 Australian every month, and if somebody says I don't have $197 every month, my job is to tell them the amount of money that they are losing just because they're not going to spend that $197. Okay, it's like insurance premium, right? If we don't want to pay that insurance premium, what happens if something happens to you or your car or whatever? So the context of the problem is very important for you to articulate to the person, and the depth of the issue, the magnitude of the issue, how much they're actually losing just because they're not going to fix it, or just because they're using some $10 bandage fix. What is that it's going to do in the future? Okay. All right. So this is kind of any questions. I just don't want to keep going on and on. Any questions here? Are we good? Is it a lot? Is it hurting your brain? Are we good? Okay, cool. So we are actually going into the sales conversation. The reason we have to do this so much in detail is because online world works very differently, right? In the online world, people build that trust, people build that relationship just because they see a post on Instagram, or they see a post on LinkedIn, or they read your blog post, or they look at your reels, and people form their opinions about you. Okay, so there was a BNI member in another chapter, and she was offering a service-based business. So BNI is a professional organization. And I saw her on her TikTok in her bathroom, just with a towel and doing some face mask thing, and just recording a TikTok on talking about her services. And I'm like, why can't you do it with bathrobe or just clothed? So you are in a professional organization. And since then, people actually stopped associating her with her business in any shape or form. And eventually she had to leave BNI because she was not getting any business out of it. All right. People judge with the way you present yourself online, and people build that relationship with you. Every word you talk, people build that bond. Looks like I've got a very small following, but I've got a very close knit following, I can say. People really, really value my opinions because I share things openly about my family, about kids, about things, but only the ones that I choose to share. Right? You get to choose what you want to share, how much you want to share. So online world really, really works. I never believed people would pay me thousands of dollars of Instagram without seeing me until it happened to me. I did not believe, right? The first sales call, I'm like, she's not going to pay. And then I got a Stripe notification. I was like, shit, she paid. And at that time, my husband didn't understand what I was doing. And he asked me, did she pay you? And did she see you on Instagram? I'm like, yeah, why did she pay? I said, she paid me to talk, because coaching is basically get on a call, right? That's the simplest way I could explain to my husband. So, and also my childhood dream was like, I love talking. So I wanted to get paid to talk, but I didn't know it was a profession back then, right? So always you go back to your childhood dreams, I would say. Like the very simplest word that you'd have uttered would become your life. Like I was like, oh, I love talking. I want to get paid to talk, So things like that. You always go back to your basics. So in the online world, most of your services, if you have to sell, you need the right messaging, you need the right structure. So we're not doing marketing. So marketing, online marketing, I've had several workshops. Most of you have attended, or you can attend any of my future ones. So marketing is different. How you present yourself on social media, what content to present on social media. This is when somebody actually decides that you are the one to help, and then they get on a conversation with you. How are you going to do that? Okay, so this is my framework on a sales call that converts to paying clients. First, you have to understand the structure of a call. Then you have to triage the client's problems. Then you actually validate the triage. You don't just assume that whatever you have triaged is right. And then you go ahead and offer them a very, very step-by-step plan that they can go and implement straight away for the next 90 days. And you explain how they can work with you, and you ask for objections, and you can handle any objections that they throw at you. So this is the basic structure, what I follow to get sales call to convert into paying clients. All right, this is a basic structure of a call. Okay, you tell them what to expect because they are extremely nervous. You have to understand and empathize with the person getting on a call. They don't know first what the hell you're going to say, how much you're going to charge, because the how much is stressing everyone when they get on a sales call. So your job is to make them clear on expectation. Okay, so I'll tell them very straight, we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you some questions, understand about your business. And if we are the right fit, then I'll tell you how I can help and we can discuss the offer and you can ask questions at the end. Or I'll tell them if you have any question anytime, feel free to unmute and ask or just ask. And I always say that really kind of loosens, but don't go into these small talks. Like I said, oh, how's the weather there? Oh my God, did your child go to school? No. So that kind of dilutes the environment. So you still stay professional, yet give them that safe space for them to share. So there's a very fine line between the both. So smile, make them feel comfortable, give them a safe space to share. Don't treat it like an interview. Okay. And give them the structure and make them feel as human as possible in an AI driven world. Okay. So that's the first step, is providing them the structure of the conversation, structure of the next 60 minutes, how it's going to be. And how do you triage the client's problem? How do you triage the client's business? Is by asking open-ended questions. So you have to get really good with it to know when to stop and go deep. All right. So the first open-ended questions that you ask will go horizontal. And then you pick the things that they say from their mouth. And I make notes because the words, I've mentioned this again and again, the exact words the client use, when you relay it back to them, then you have more chances of getting the sale because they feel seen and heard. Okay. It's not manipulation. It's really making them feel seen and heard. Because if a client is using the term, say, for example, I'm leaking money, then you make sure you use the word, this is why you are leaking money, meaning they actually, because that's the vocabulary they have used in their brain to understand and sensitize the problem. So when they say it back, this is the reason you are leaking money, and to stop the money leak, this is what we're going to do, meaning then they're like, okay, so this is my problem and this is how you can help. So really those open-ended questions is for you to pick and choose what is the actual issue, and then you drive deep into it. Okay. So when a customer throws, because my husband was telling this and that's why I did this, and I'm like, okay, stop there. That's the husband is the factor there. And then you go deep to understand, okay, this is why you're struggling. They will tell you exactly what's the issue. Okay. So your job is to really understand and dive deep.
Hey listeners, before we jump back into today's episode, I want to tell you about an incredible opportunity that's perfect for those of you who are always asking these questions yourself. How can I earn more money? How do I get more customers without spending on ads and fancy funnels? How can I generate recurring income without selling all the time? How do I create wealth without trading time for money? How can I transition from being a one-person show to mastering delegation? If this sounds like you, then you're going to love our sponsors for this episode, the Pivot Mastermind, a life-changing 6-month intensive experience designed to help you launch and scale your digital empire. But that's not all. One of the standout features of this mastermind is that each attendee gets a dedicated virtual assistant to handle the admin and social media marketing tasks. That means you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business and enjoying the freedom that comes with it. Don't wait any longer. Click on the link in the show notes to apply today and take the first step towards transforming your business and your life with the Pivot Mastermind. Now let's get back to today's episode.
All right. So these are some of the questions that has really helped me understand the problem. What is your biggest struggle? Okay, what is your biggest struggle? And they'll go on and on and on. So you should know when to stop and drill down deeper. Why now is the time? Like out of all the times, why now did you decide to do this? And what is the best outcome you would celebrate as success? So it's always not about the money, right? People would tell, see, I want to go part-time. I'm working full-time. I want to go part-time. That would be my biggest success. So let's work towards that. For you to go part-time, what do we do? So I kind of reverse engineer from their goals, right? And what have you tried and didn't work? This is very important for you to understand if they ever had any bad experience in your niche. So business coaching is such a niche where people have burnt themselves multiple times. And I want to understand that because this will be an objection, right? So I'm trying to bring the objections up so I can overcome those objections or respond to those objections when that time comes. So these are some of the questions that has worked for me, but you can ask any open-ended question for you to gather as much information as possible. And a few tips in the triaging stage is get very, very specific. Don't ask template question. I used to have a questionnaire. I used to ask that question, write down answers. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. It felt very, very templated. I didn't feel like I'm making them feel more humanized. So I got rid of the templated questions, just few questions. And from the conversation, we go on and on, right? But it has to be specific. Don't let the client take on the call and just go on with their life, because people love talking. They love talking about them. They love sharing, but you should know when to stop because you're time bound. You have to respect their time, your time. So 1 hour, within that 1 hour, you have to complete all the different steps. So get specific. Okay. And like I said, you should know when to stop and probe more, right? So the things that you want to explore, stop and go deep in that vertical and ask quality questions to understand the root of the problem. So I called it the bubble question method. Okay. So the biggest question is the problem that they say. I don't have any sales. So that's the biggest bubble, like no sales, right? And then we have the little bubbles that we have, which are the little problems that they have that is causing them. And then we go vertical into one or more of these bubbles. Okay. So I'm very visual. I love my mind maps. So if you're like me, you understand the bubble question method. Okay. And this is one thing where people lose a lot of clients. I have been there myself. Meet the client where they are at. Okay, meaning if the client is talking about their Facebook ads, okay, so they're telling you how they're doing about the Facebook ads and it's not working. They've spent tens of thousands of dollars, nothing is working. So they're actually talking about the Facebook ads, and you're like, that's a shame. Have you thought about building a sales funnel or something like that? Okay, so meaning you are really not with the client. You haven't helped them move from that aspect. All right. So when you're staying with the clients where they are, your chance of close rate will be extremely high. When they're talking about something, you also respond to the client about that same issue. So stay with the client. When they're talking about something, don't go off something off tangent, or because your brain was processing some of the information they said. Okay, this happens early on in the sales call because you're still marinating your thoughts about something they've actually said, but they've moved to the next topic, but you're actually still in that topic and you want to say something that you've actually thought about it. Okay, so it takes practice for you to actually move on quick, stay with the client, and give something relevant to what they're talking about. So triaging, this takes up 60% of the conversation. All right. 60% of the time will be you asking questions, genuinely curious about the client's problem, genuinely trying to understand the client's problem and extracting maximum information. All right. And then 10% will be giving the solution and roadmap. And then 20% will be explaining your offers and objections. And then 10% will be the closing. Okay, validating the triage. This is important because you don't want to assume, right? So you'll be like, okay, after asking all the questions, you make your notes. Please make notes. Don't just sit and look at them. Take your note and write down. And then you say, okay, just to make sure I've got things right. Okay, this is where you're at right now. These are the things you're trying to achieve. Your problems or challenges that you're facing right now are 1, 2, and 3. And this is what you're trying to achieve in the next 6 months, 1, 2, and 3. Am I right? Did I miss anything? Always ask that. Okay, is that all or did I miss anything? Okay, just make sure. Oh, please correct me if I'm wrong. However you want to say it. And then people will be like, yeah, well, I think this is perfect. You've got everything. But I think this is also one other thing I'm missing in my business. Oh, I feel like that's not very important right now. I just want to focus on this one. So they will say, so if they say anything else that you've missed, add that and say, okay, all right, so this is what we've done. This is something that we missed. Now we're going to add this on, and you reiterate it back to them. The reason we do this is really, really to help them understand that they feel seen and heard. This is one thing people miss out in business. Most of them don't feel seen and heard. And like I said, the lingo matters. Use the exact words that they use. So for them to actually feel seen and heard. And like I said, you don't pick and choose. This is their biggest problem. So I'm just going to pick this one and work, right? No. What is the outcome they want? And based on that, what are the issues that they're facing? Based on that, you roadmap the next 90 days or 6 months. Okay. So you don't have the liberty to pick and choose their problems and sugarcoating their triage. Tell them exactly what they need to hear. All right. And then you offer a step-by-step roadmap. How are we tracking time? We're actually pretty good with that. Okay. Step-by-step roadmap, a three-step treatment plan. So three is kind of a sweet spot. Okay. When you talk about problems, talk about three key problems. When you talk about the brand pillars, talk about three key brand pillars. So like that, a three-step roadmap. Always three is a sweet spot. You say, okay, just do it in three simple steps. First step, we're going to choose this platform. Second step, we're going to do this marketing plan. Third step, we're going to do this building whatever. So give a three-step for them to do this. So in a very, very generic process, people focus on mindset, marketing, and sales, but that will be a lot of information, right? So I want you to take that one key problem that will help them see results straight away. Our brain loves quick wins. Okay. So when I start working with clients, I look at the low hanging fruits. So I tell them, you need to believe this is working, right? And I want to get you results. So these are the low hanging fruits that are there in your arena right now that we're going to tap and convert. So once we get those quick wins, you start believing in me, you start believing in your offer, you start believing in the whole online business digital process. And then from there, with that belief, the energy shifts, and then we start fast tracking, we start scaling. So you start looking for those low hanging fruits and tell your clients, this is where we're going to start, or my recommendation is this is where we start. This is what we focus on, getting those first quick wins, and then we start scaling from there. So that's usually my strategy, right? And the treatment plan is about the client and not about you. You don't talk about your certification. You don't talk about how great you are. If there's a case study that can be relevant in helping them understand that you worked in a relevant niche, go with that. Okay. But if it's not going to be relevant, don't say it. So a solid quality treatment plan is a key to success. It's not a marketing pitch. Like I said, marketing is to make you feel visible. You've already been visible, they've seen you, and that's why they are on the sales call. So don't give them a marketing pitch, give them a roadmap, give them a plan to execute, give them an implementation plan. Okay, so that's basic K in the sales process. Let me take a quick break for questions, because after this we go into different areas of handling objections and stuff. But I want to understand the sales process, whether you've understood, whether you have any specific questions with the whole three-step process. You can unmute or ask in the chat.
Is this a chance to ask questions, or I just stepped out for a sec?
No. Yeah, I mean, you can ask questions before we move on about the whole thing, what we've heard.
Oh, I just had a question about the step-by-step plan. I'm guessing that's like, you're not giving them like actual solutions. You're giving them an idea of how they would work with you if they choose to go ahead.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Correct. You don't give them the entire step-by-step plan, but you tell them, okay, let's focus. Okay, you're going to work with corporate. So you're going to be a corporate trainer. So let's focus on LinkedIn. Even that is a big breakthrough for them, knowing what platform to choose. So on LinkedIn, we're going to do some LinkedIn Live and webinars, and this is how you're going to drive traffic. And what you're going to sell is this one consultation. So you're helping them choose one offer. Okay, so always go back to the formula, people, value, offer, right? Where do you find your people is your marketing platform. So, and then the next one is your value, what problem you're going to solve. So I'm going to solve, say, diversity and inclusivity training in the corporate space. So that's the value. And what is my offer? I can offer a half a day workshop in different corporates, priced at whatever dollars. So people, value, offer. So if you can help them see those three components in that sales conversation, that is a massive win. And that's what you're going to give in the form of a step-by-step roadmap.
Yep.
Choose the right people, choose the right offer.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else before we move on? Because this can be a little bit tricky. Would your strategy up? Sorry, someone was talking.
Sorry, it's Sam.
Hi, Sam.
How you doing?
Good.
My question, I guess it isn't about a three-step formula, but in your opinion, what's the best way to validate your pricing?
Validate your pricing. Tell me more.
So you just said, half day workshop or, whatever it is that you're offering. I don't have a problem talking to clients. I do coaching, so I don't have a problem asking open-ended questions and having more of a conversational, can I or can I not help you? But I find in terms of pricing, when it comes to that point, like I'll have my standard pricing, but then I'll be like, I don't know where the client's at. And so, I lose, I guess, faith or confidence in my pricing model based on the person's response. So a bit of it will be me building self-efficacy and belief in my pricing and what I've got. But then a bit of it is also, how do I validate that it's actually relevant in the marketplace and that it is competitive?
Okay. So there are two things. One is market research. Market research is when you go to your competitor's website, you understand what they're charging, what the general market is charging for your similar services. That is market research. I call market validation when someone pays you for the price you quote. That's when the market actually validates that I'm willing to pay you this money for the service. Right. So what I normally suggest clients is pre-selling. So if people who've attended other webinars of mine, they understand what I'm talking about. Meaning, if I'm going to launch a course, I will not sit down and record an entire course and then sell it. I would just put it out in my social media following. I would put it out to my email newsletters. I'm launching this new course. I'm launching this at a launch price of so and so. And if somebody pays me, that's market validation that I've got audience, I've got hot leads, I've got interested buyers for my service at this price, and someone actually pays me. That's when I start recording my courses and that's when I start delivering.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So I would call that as market validation. So what's your niche, Sam?
First-time managers, leadership training for first-time managers.
Okay, so your best bet. So where are you actually marketing right now?
Mainly social media, but not paid advertising, so organic outreach.
Yeah, organic is the best and sustainable for small businesses. What platform of choice?
We're on most of them, except LinkedIn is our main one, corporate platform.
Yes, so that's where I would expect you to be. LinkedIn would be your main source. So in terms of this, like you understand, this is sales, but I would tell you three things you need to focus on. First is, where do people find you? Right? That's where the marketing aspect comes. And after that is where the sales conversation and how do you get them to the sales call is the marketing, right? Whether you hold webinars, whether you hold masterclasses, whether you have an outreach, whether you've got ebooks, lead magnets, whatever you have to get people into your funnel, into your world, basically. And then you have the sales conversation. And after you sell, what is a service that you offer, especially for your niche? How do you go back to your existing clients? This is my power pivot strategy I would have explained. So the 5 things when people are not making enough sales, there are gaps in one or more of these. P stands for product and pricing. O is organic marketing, or in terms of online and offline presence. W is warm lead generation. S is sales process, evaluating sales process. And then the last is the retainer, go back and retarget your existing clients. So definitely, I think there's more self-doubt from the lingo that you used. And that's why you're seeking that market validation. I would say money is, in most cases, 95% money is not the problem. It's just that we have not articulated the value we bring for that money that we are charging. Right. So when I was coach shopping, there was a lady who was charging me $5,000 for 6 months. But I told her, sorry, I can't afford your prices right now. But I went and paid my coach 10 grand. Right. So money was not the problem, but I used that as an excuse to tell her that I'm not ready to work with her just yet. So people use that as an excuse. So in most cases, money is not the problem, especially for your niche, in the corporate training niche. If you can articulate what value you bring to the first time managers, what is the gap in the market, what does the market need, and how your services can bridge that gap. If you can say that, obviously corporates have the money to do it.
Yep. Okay. Beautiful.
Did that kind of answer?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's less about the money. And I think if I look at what's over your shoulder in that power pivot, it's really now for me about creating a formal sales process and a retarget process. Because there's been a whole lot of give, waiting for people to come, but the waiting for them to come is a really slow burn and it's not necessarily the most effective approach.
Yes, don't be reactive. Please be proactive. All right. And unless you've got those multiple touch points with your current clients, your past clients, the leads that have contacted you, then there's no way that you can actually stay in front of their memory in such a digital overload age, right? We lived in such a digitally distracted world, so much information out there. So if you're not going to stay on top of their head, then you're not going to get the lead. So you just need to build your marketing and sales process in such a way that you get multiple touch points with that particular client. So you're always fresh in their memory. So my way of nurturing my lead is my Monday morning newsletter. So Monday morning, 9 a.m. Brisbane time, my newsletter hits my email list. And that's where I share every week what I do, what are the things. And I share something called practical pointers. I share information about grants. I share information about business awards. I share information about my podcast. So 5 different segments. And that's my lead nurturing platform. So people know what I do. They kind of get warmed up psychologically. They build that trust and relationship with me and my team and my services. So you just need to figure out that retention strategy or retargeting strategy so you can go back to your past clients and have some ways how they can start working with you.
Beautiful. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Grace, question. Would your strategy apply to both B2B as well as B2C? Or are they two different approaches? To me, B2C is really a one-way communication. Why would you say it's a one-way communication? So B2B is different in terms of the services you offer, the psychology. B2C is more, so when I was more in the business coaching space, I was serving more coaches, so that I would consider that more B2C because they're mostly solopreneurs, one woman band. But now I predominantly work with B2Bs, or I work with B2Bs right now, but I understand both the markets. And I don't understand why you call it a one-way communication. I need more context to answer that question. So the same strategy, sales conversations I've had, the same structure and psychology I had followed for B2C conversation with individual coaches. It's the same psychology I use for B2B clients with 5-figure proposals. It's the same psychology and concept. You help them understand the context and magnitude of the issue. All right. It's only your proposal in terms of the services would be different for B2C. The pricing would be different for B2C, but the psychology and science of sales remains the same. You help them see the problem, you offer them a solution, and you offer them your service. People value offer. That's it. Cool. Like the Prezi solutions, you would not expect them to give you a sales call. Okay. So, okay, now I know what you mean. So in terms of app, obviously people are not going to get on a sales call with you. Your marketing has to be so much on point for them to actually go and use your service. How are you different? This is where in marketing, we talk about USP. What is your unique selling point? Why should your client choose you over your competitors? So that's what I want you to understand. So, okay, now I understand your question. Thanks, Grace. So Grace's question is, not every business has an offer where people get on a sales call, right? So in that case, when there is no opportunity for a sales call, your marketing should be really so good that people go and buy. All right. So how many of you have gone into a website, you've never known about them, but bought their services? Like I wanted ThriveCard sales funnels. When I used to use ThriveCards, they're very clunky to build. So I needed ThriveCard sales funnel template. I went on to Etsy, I went on to Google, I went on to different sites and just searched for ThriveCard sales templates. I didn't know the person. I paid 130 US and I got 2 templates. Okay. The person who sold, I don't know. I don't remember the business name. I don't know their name. I wanted a template and I bought it off Etsy. Okay. So such businesses don't have to have their sales conversations, right? They just need to have their product page. That's why you have sales funnels. I'm going to touch upon sales funnels. So sales funnel is when you're not going to get on a sales call, but you still have a process where you psychologically drive person to do that sale. So the ThriveCard sales funnel, they had the templates, they had the description right, what I was getting for the money that I pay, what it includes. Everything was very clear. So I just paid and I bought it. So yours will be a similar case, Grace, where you have your app on point, where people jump on your app, they know exactly what products they get, the options, the customization, what they pay for, and what it delivers. Okay, in a very, very step-by-step process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, tell them, okay, this is what you do. Okay, sign up for your app's account, choose customize your gift card, and then deliver the gift card to your recipient, whatever. So give it very visual, make it more fun, and choose your target market. Like I said, Prezi, when I want to give gifts for my kids' birthday parties, Prezi is my go-to because I don't know that there is any other services that are there. So if you can customize it, niche it down for something, that would be great. Or if you're just going to be Australian gift cards, then you need to give them an option. Why not go to Coles and buy it, other than the thing that they have to actually walk into Coles and buy it? This is digital and all of the good stuff. So you just need to say that. Did that help? Cool. All right. Any more questions before we move on? Let me check what I have. All right. I also should warn you, do not set very high expectations about yourself and associate shame, regret, failure after a sales call. I used to. The very first time after I quit my full-time job, I quit my full-time job in December 2021, and I advertised a masterclass on LinkedIn. Like, I'd never used LinkedIn because I used to be an academician. So people on LinkedIn know me as an academician. I used to work with the University of Adelaide, University of Queensland. So I felt very icky to talk about business to my academician colleagues, right? So I never used LinkedIn. Instagram is my primary religion even today. So I felt icky, but I still advertised my first ever masterclass on LinkedIn. I had 78 registrations. You know how LinkedIn people can just click attending? So 78 people said attending. I was smart. I also gave them a Google form to complete for the masterclass. And I think 18 or 20 people completed that Google form. And I was super excited. My first ever masterclass as a full-time entrepreneur. And guess what? No show, zero, crickets, none of them came. I've never had like no shows, like absolute no shows after so many RSVPs. And I cried so badly. I remember crying my lungs out. My kids were, convincing me it's okay and all that. I still remember that very, very clearly because I associated a lot of shame to myself because no one came for that masterclass. But today, if it had happened, if none of you showed up, I would be like, okay, 2 hours of my time, I'm going to invest doing something else, better. So there's a lot of expectations that you set upon yourself. There's a lot of shame, regret, failure you associate. So closing a sales call and getting a yes after a sales call requires a lot of practice. Okay. So go easy on yourself. So there's a lot of times people say, yes, let me think about it. I have to just ask my husband or a business partner, come back to you. And if I get worried when people are like, wow, this is great, Priya. Yes, 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 that's fine. That's fine. And they just want to get off the call with you because they're just saying, yes, I have absolutely no problem, which means they've not given you an objection. Okay. If there is no objection on a sales call, which means it'll be a sure no. There's not a person, unless you've already spoken to them. Like I had one person from my BNI, she's had multiple one-to-ones with me for the past 1 year. And then she came to me last month and she was like, hey, I need you now. Okay. And then you're like, just send me an invoice and I'm going to action it. Okay. That is a definite yes, because we've had multiple conversations. But if somebody is just getting on a sales call straight away, and they're like, yes, you said this is great. Whatever you said, yes, I'm going to sign up. Just send me an invoice. Nah, they'll never pay. Trust me. Okay. Because you've never answered objection. They don't know exactly what they're signing up for. So if they just say yes, 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 that is a fake yes. So I want you to understand this. Okay. So when people say yes, I would tell them a definite time frame. Okay, I'll send you an invoice and most likely I would expect you to action it in the next 24 to 48 hours, because after that your brain forgets, right? We go back to our cozy caveman primal human brain that wants you to stay comfortable in your cozy nook. Like it doesn't want you to take any action. All right. So give them some time, tell them what to expect. I'll send you an invoice. If I don't hear from you in the next 2 or 3 business days, I'll just do a gentle, no pressure check-in to see if everything is okay or if you need any further information from me. In terms of B2B, it's not going to be an actioning invoice in 48 hours. And now I know that. Okay. But in terms of your follow-up process, you just tell them, I'll follow up with you if I don't hear from you in the next 3 to 5 business days, and then we'll see how we go. Okay. Ghosting. I've had one ghosting. I can say very vividly, the guy asked me, we're all professionals. I would expect people to just say, hey, I'm not ready yet, or I can't do this now, or my priorities have changed, or I don't want to work with you, Priya. You don't make sense to me. Just tell me on my face, mate. But ghosting sadly still happens. So, yeah, I want you to know that there could be multiple outcomes for a sales call. There's no straight one outcome that you can expect. And it'll be an interesting journey for you to understand what kind of outcomes you get for your business. All right. So evaluating sales calls, it's very, very important you record every sales conversation with their permission for your market research or validation purpose. All right. So when I went back to my sales calls, which is a no, I know why is it exactly a no. I sit and watch my recording and then I'm like, shit, this is why it didn't work, because she mentioned about this. I actually ignored it completely. I didn't even touch upon the topic, but she was screaming that that was her problem. But you would have actually missed because you're in your head thinking about something else where you actually did not active listen to that client's problem, right? So please record your sales conversations and re-evaluate what went wrong. If it's a yes, go back to that sales call and see what did you do well and pat yourself on the back. Oh, well done, and then what didn't work. And that is an opportunity for you to learn what you can do differently. And that is also an area of development for you to understand, oh, I think I need to listen to clients more carefully, or I think I need a better treatment plan, or I think I need better questions to ask. So it's an opportunity for you to understand what you need in terms of support to grow your business. Okay, so these are my little pro tips. Your energy matters, really, really matters. People can sense energy. Imagine if I sit here and talk about, oh, yeah, sales is like this. Yeah, in a sales call, you just talk about this. So people can actually sense the energy, your passion when you talk, and when you're genuinely saying something from putting the client's interest first, people can sense it. So really your mindset, how clear you are. So when I used to be a newbie and my coach taught me this process where before a sales conversation, 15 minutes, you do a brain dump where you get everything off your head. So you start from a clean slate. You basically kind of get rid of all the assumptions because, in your Calendly booking, you've got questions like this. So based on those questions, you form some kind of pre-formed notions about the client. You go do your little bit of homework. When you're new, you do all of that. You have time to do all of that. So you go and research about the client, their Instagram, their website, and you understand you've got so much judgments about that client. So you operate from that place of judgment. So she told me to do 15 minutes of getting all that thing off my head and then getting on a sales call. So I used to have time for all that, right? So before the sales call, I used to do all that brain dump and then start off fresh. So your mindset really, really matters. Your belief, you think, oh, she doesn't have the money, or look at her website, it's crappy, so I don't think she's got the money. So don't form any beliefs about the client before you get on a call. Don't form any assumptions. And your body language matters. How you talk, your energy really, really matters. And also, like I said, don't be so clingy to get a yes after sales call just because you need validation. Okay, it's only to solve the client's problem and not your financial struggle. If I ever need money, I would go back to a job. I wouldn't be pushy to get a client. Okay, handling objections. This is very, 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 very important for you to get lead prospect to a paying client. You have to be ready to handle objections. Okay, don't join. I used to be this person joining in the river of misery with my clients, right? When they cry about their financial struggles, when they cry about their relationship struggles, I'm like, oh my God, I used to cry with them. I'm not helping them, right? When I'm joining their river of misery, I'm not helping them. All right. My job as a coach or a mentor is to help them see that just because they're stuck in that loop of self-misery, what it is costing them. Okay, how is it blocking them from succeeding and achieving their goals, right? So objections are something that is going to come because it is a natural human response. Especially we Australians, we are very, very resistant to change. Change management is hard. So I don't know if you'll believe the statistics in terms of adaptation to AI. Australia is the last in the world. We are the slowest in adapting to AI in the world. In terms of technology, we are very, very resistant to change. And normally, because we still operate, like I said, from a primal human brain. So our cavemen always wanted safety and security, right? So our brain always tries to keep us safe in that cushioning place, and anything you take out of thing, it really, really stops you. Now, I've got an invitation to attend one of my ex-colleagues' wedding in Pakistan. And if you understand the history, India and Pakistan, you grow up with people really branding Pakistan people as so bad. All the movies that you watch brand Pakistanis as so cruel. But now I've got teams in Pakistan and I work with lovely people. They're such amazing humans, and now know them personally, meaning I've worked with them for so many months now. And that invitation scares the hell out of me, right? Because I'm scared. I have an Australian passport, so I can travel. With Indian passport, I would not dare to enter into Pakistan, but I'm still an Indian, right? So there's so many things that have formed in my so many years of my life that makes me fear traveling to a country where I could be totally safe. I still don't know, right? There's so many unknowns. So it's the unknowns that's making me fear, but it's not a fact. Okay. It's not a fact. I'm not going to die just because I step into Pakistan, right? But it's just that fear that people, others have actually drilled into my brain that I fear even applying or thinking about planning a holiday there. All right. So that's just how normal human brain works. So whatever belief you have today is someone else. What Auntie Rosie said when you were 8 years, that is still there. Trust me, childhood conditioning and trauma is real. Right. All right. So please neutralize your personal objections. Do not force your personal objections just because you never paid or you don't believe in credit cards. If a client wants to pay off credit cards, don't go and say, hey, no, don't pay off credit cards. That's a bad thing. You don't want to put your family in stress and stuff like that. So just because you have your personal objections doesn't mean you have to force those objections onto your clients. And it's very, very important that you spot objections in the triage process. They will tell you very clearly the objection, but you have to be smart enough to grasp it. It could be one word, and that one word is where you stop and probe. Okay. Can we just stop right there? You mentioned about this. Can we go deeper on that? Okay. The reason I asked Sam when she mentioned about the sales process is I told her, tell me more, because when she tells me more, the words she used, the things that she used. So I found out it's more about self-validation and self-doubt more than anything else in the process. It's not her offer. She was very clear on corporate training, who she was serving, what she was serving, but it was just that self-doubt. And I could spot that in when I said, tell me more, right? So that's where you stop and probe. All right. And don't coach, just help the clients overcome the objections. And when you're starting off new, please plan your objections and responses ahead of your sales conversations. Okay. I think we did this. So in terms of objections, I want you to know they're not proven facts. Okay. And it is just a thought your client has. All right. If they're going to say my business partner is not going to agree, it's not a fact. All right. It's just a thought that they feel. Maybe he or she is not going to agree to this. He or she is not going to be willing to spend that money on this. So don't take it as a fact. It's just a thought and it's optional. All right. So it's just their primal human brain. Now I've come to that stage where I'm like, just brain, shut up, and I can just move on. Okay. But previously I needed a journal to get it off my head. All right. Sales energetics. So in terms of pre and post sales process, what do you do to be ready to remove and your personal objections and be on point in helping your clients? Is first is you kind of nullify or remove your personal views. You prepare responses to spot objections, and you have to be really, really good with spotting the lingo. So you make them feel seen and heard, and share examples and case studies where you make them feel relatable. Like we all want to know, I'm not the only weirdo stuck with this rut, right? So if I'm going to tell them, but genuinely, don't just make things up. Just tell them genuinely if you had an opportunity to work with clients and how you can help them do it. Or there was a client for them that didn't work, and then I realized probably that was the reason. So I think for you, it could be the same thing. So be very honest and authentic. If you've never worked with that niche, tell them you've never worked with that niche. Or if you don't like working with them, just tell them you don't like working with them. Okay. For me, mindset coaches are one niche that I struggle working with. So I tell them, I'm sorry. I've not had great success working with mindset coaches. I don't think I align with them. So you're better off working with somebody else. Right. I tell them very upfront that mindset coaching is I haven't had great success. I've tried, but I don't think mindset coaches are ready for my style of coaching. So I tell them straight. So be honest. All right. So Business HQ has this option where you can book calls to basically, I think you get 4 calls for $110. That's the subsidized way. If you think I can help you grow your business, if you want to work with me, that's the most economical option to work, where there'll be a digital advisor who will sit down with you. That's basically a sales conversation. I don't know. I've never attended one. I don't know how they do it, but they kind of triage and find out the problems what you have, and they suggest digital advisors who can help you. But if you specifically want to work with me, you can tell them that, I want to work with Priya, and they can basically send information and book a call. So that's about the sales conversations and sales calls. Any other questions, people, based on your offer, if you struggle selling?
If I'm already in the program, as in I paid $110 for 4 sessions, thought I was going to go down the SEO path, is it transferable, or are they two separate things?
I think you can speak to the girls and ask them, or the digital advisor, who I think Sharon or somebody would have done it for you. So you can go back to them and tell them, hey, I revisited the digital action plan. I believe this could be a good fit. Can I use the rest of the hours with this? And they should be able to fix it.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any specific products or services that you want to discuss how you can sell, or what offers you can sell to bring them into your funnel? This is your opportunity to ask questions, get the most out of the session. Hey, I'm glad
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, I'm just driving at the moment. I'm about to park. Just a quick question. I put in the chat about, so I deliver the program called My Health for Life. It's a free program, government funded. I'm paid by the government to deliver it in the community. It is free. So that's what I was saying in terms of people being a bit skeptical. Government, the minute you mention government, they think they want your details, things like that. Obviously, over the 5 years of me doing this program, I've become a bit more trial and error, use different languages. In some workshops I've attended, people have said, try attaching a cost and saying it's worth $800 or whatever. And that way people know that it actually, has a money attachment, that they're getting something free. So I don't know if you have any feedback on that for me.
So what's the struggle there? I understood your offer. Are you struggling to upsell them from there?
Yeah, so it's just basically, it's like, okay, I usually do an information talk to say, this is the program, this is how it's conducted, it's online, it's face-to-face, there's eligibility criteria, if you qualify, you can sign up. It's just that, there are people in the room that it's obvious they should sign up, but they don't. So whether they're not at that space to make that health change, I usually go with that being the reason. I at the moment, I've been working on a 10%. So usually if I give a talk in a room of 50 people, I get between 5 to 10 maybe signing up. So far that's been the case, but I'm just wondering how do I get more, like, for example, how do I sell this online to like rural and regional communities that need to be doing more of these programs because of the healthcare burden? How do I get the message across to them?
Yeah. So the free service, I'll take this session as an example, right? So this is still the same. Regional Business HQ is funded, and you get it for free, but I don't take it for granted that it is a free program. And as you can see, there are people who come back for all my sessions because of the kind of value that I provide, one. And second thing, and every person who signs up for these webinars, I add them as my email contact list. And Monday morning newsletter is where I nurture them, right? And I have signed so many clients from, like Kylie just messaged, right, on the chat, that she has signed up for my Go High Level services. I never sold anything to her directly. Right. So she saw the value that I provided, and Kylie was there for most of my sessions. Like this might be her 5th or 6th session. So, but for them to take that action, people take that multiple touch points. So as a business owner, it's your responsibility to create that multiple touch points on different platforms. So for me, it's the Regional Business HQ is like the top of my funnel where people come, get massive value without paying anything. And then if they choose, then they go into the digital action plan, they work with me, and they come straight to me for different services. If I can offer them, they can take that services. So I think the gap for you will be that lead nurturing platform where people attend your session. You just let them go. So there's no way
Mm-hmm.
you're capturing or nurturing them on what you're doing. People don't know what you do, and people just get busy. Life gets busy. So you just need that nurturing platform to retarget those people and tell them what they do. And I always promote the free stuff because value before dollars. Right.
Sure.
So people attend, they get massive value. And then that is an opportunity for them to understand that she is the person who can help me. Right. And then they will come to you. I don't go around selling. I don't push sales, but people come to me. It's more what I call as attraction marketing, where you articulate the value you bring to the people and people are attracted to your service. They reach out, they come to you.
Okay.
Right.
So
I think
a
that's the
suggestion
missing
would
bit.
be like, if I had to maybe at the talks I give, maybe send a sheet around to get email addresses. Would that be a kind of what you're talking about?
So, I mean, email marketing is still a lot of work, I tell you, but whatever you feel compelled to do, wherever some people love funneling them into a Facebook group and nurturing via Facebook group. I'm terrible at Facebook groups, never had success in my life. That's one thing that I don't master or don't want to master. So it depends on what you want to do. You can funnel them into somewhere where you can nurture them, meaning they know what you're doing. You can provide massive value and keep nurturing them until they are ready. So I always say your client should be ready to come to you. So the sale should never be you pushing them to make a sale. It should be them coming to you saying, this is the problem I have. Can you help me?
Okay, cool. No, that's really helpful. I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
You're welcome and all the best.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool, Grace. I look forward to you booking this session. It takes me time to get to know you and then understand fully what's on offer, then do my research and then come. Yes. So that's why I say I'm somebody who would just see someone, okay, if they tick the box, go boom, I pay, I do it. That's just me. So I cannot expect everybody to be like me. That's what I said. You've got different styles of learners, different style of buyers. So do not judge and do not expect everyone to be like me or everyone to be like you. So please understand people have their own style of learning about you and converting. All you have to do is show up. That's all you have to do. Your job as a business owner is to show up authentically and tell people how you can help. They will come to you. They will get in touch with you when they're ready. But in saying that, you can't just be reactive sitting, oh, they'll come to me when they're ready. But you need to keep doing the work, right? I show up, rain or shine, any day of the week. Monday morning, 9 a.m., my newsletter hits. That's my nurture. Right? I do that. I show up every day on my stories, every day. Even before this workshop started, I posted a screenshot saying, starting my day, it was 4:30 in the morning in India, right? Starting my day, educating Queensland businesses, but I didn't know we had a lot of Western Australian businesses, teaching them about science and psychology. If I don't tell people that, if I don't post that story, how will people know? People will think I'm just holidaying. People will just think I'm sleeping. Okay. So if you're a business owner, it's important for your ideal clients and prospects to know what you're doing. Okay. And it's not an easy game, but now it's become a second nature for me. I don't post myself, but I post every day I don't post every day. Stories are the ways I get clients. So it's worked for me. I have mastered it and I get clients just by posting stories. I mean, my travel stories, my genuine, authentic stories, sales conversations, everything that I post. And that's how people build that relationship with me. So pick one platform, pick one aspect that could work for you and just do that consistently. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be it all. Okay. For me, stories have worked and I've stuck to that. Okay. So choose one platform and choose your methodology. Yes, Selena.
I don't know why there's no raise hand option in my
For me, it
Zoom.
works, okay, it's fine.
I was just thinking about the start of my business is about parent coaching. So a little bit different to business coaching and corporate coaching, right? It's more like a counseling type of thing. And because I offer it as a coaching model, so it's short term. And I guess that sales piece becomes quite important. And I think my marketing is not too bad from the feedback I get. It's more like, converting it to sales. And I'm wondering if I should be offering like maybe a 15-minute free sort of like session. I guess it's a chance for them to like see if the fit is right or not. And it could be used as like a sales call.
So I've worked with 2 parenting coaches, and the best thing that has worked for them is offering a free trial session. Come for the session. You make their child attend as an attendee along with other children. And once it's like, when they give you some product to hold, once you hold it, you feel obligated to buy, right? Like the samples that they give you in Costco. So similarly, especially in the kids niche, if they enjoy it and they go back and say, yeah, that was great, I don't mind doing it once again, the parents are going to sign them up for sure. So instead of a sales conversation for parenting niche, I would suggest give them a free trial session. I'm a parent myself, and that's worked.
Oh, I work directly with the parents, not with the kids. So
So do you do it in a group setting, or sorry, I
no,
misunderstood that.
one-on-one. Yeah,
One on
one-on-one.
one.
So it's for parents who are struggling with parenting because their kids are autistic or ADHD or whatever it is. And it's to help empower and build the parents' capacity to understand their children better, to solve those problems in the home, the family.
Okay. So what is the challenge that you're getting in terms of dealing with that niche? Like, are you having less sales calls? Are you having less conversion? What is the challenge?
Yeah, it's the conversion.
Conversion. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you recording your sales conversations?
No.
Yeah, so you should just ask them permission. It's for my own, for training purpose. I'm doing this. Or you can say I work with a mentor and she asked me to record my conversation just to do a self-evaluation. You can be genuine and honest and go back to your recordings and see what part of the sales conversations you have missed in terms of close rates. 15 minutes, like I said, especially for parents struggling with special needs children, they are really short of time, but I also understand 15 minutes is not good enough for them to open up to you and give you that honest struggle, because my nephew is autistic and I understand it firsthand what my brother is going through. So I don't think 15 minutes is a good time for you to for them to do it. And for that niche, I would say more activity based. Think about how you can help them solve. So I always tell clients three offers to think about. One is DIY. For you, what you're doing right now is done with you style, right? Coaching is done with the client, done with you model. So think about anything that you can offer them DIY, like any activities, anything that they can do on their own. These could be your different style of offers. If somebody says, I don't have the time, look, Selena, I can't sit and talk to you for 1 hour because already I don't even have time to have my breakfast. This is going to be the biggest challenge I feel for that niche, right? So you have to be prepared. If somebody is not ready for that one offer, do you have a flexible offer that you can offer them a DIY courses or a recording or audio file or anything that they can go and listen to? They can do it in their own time when they find their time. Okay, when they get a breathing space. Or it can be a done for you kind of a service, or it could be a different one where you can offer them in-person stuff, because they all crave some kind of networking, like they don't get out of the house. So are you going to give them some kind of a social setup where they can meet, and like all the NDIS providers, that's the best thing where they find success, right? They offer a social event where NDIS providers can come together and all the caretakers have their time talking and feeling validated that they're not in that journey alone.
Yeah.
So get creative, especially in the coaching niche, because it's so competitive and people start rolling their eyes with coaches. We just have to get very, very creative with finding different styles of offers that will solve the problem for our niche. Especially yours would be a challenging one for them to commit because of the time commitment involved and the work involved. And they're already stressed out, they're already going through different challenges. So you don't want to add another layer of challenge in terms of time, money, and efforts. So you have to make it as a no-brainer offer. You have to provide massive value in saying, hey, this program offers this, this, and this. It'll free you up from this, this, and this, or it'll help you with this, this, and this. So it should be a no-brainer. People will be like, yes, I can just sign up to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any final questions before we wrap up? No, are we good? Thanks, Kylie. Kirk is good. Kirk, do you want to stay and have that quick conversation, or can we schedule it for some other time? Please let me know in the chat. That's why my business is called Pivot to Thrive. I always keep pivoting. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for joining us today. You've asked, okay, they'll come back to you, and I would love to have a call. I agree with Carly. Thanks, Grace. Yep, I will add you all to my email list. If you're sick and tired of me, please unsubscribe. But that's my nurturing, and that's where I tell you all what I do, what's happening in my life, and also different offers that we come up with. It's not a sales pitch. There's no selling there. It's just nurturing. Alrighty. What day is it today? Tuesday. Have an amazing Tuesday, everyone. Next Thursday is my flight. I can't wait to come back. 2 months is a long time in India. And I'm like, I really underestimated the time. But it's good. It's good. It's a lot of good stuff happening. But I kind of miss Australia. I miss my routine. So I'm ready to come back into the winter. It's 27 degrees here at 7:22 in the morning. So you can imagine. So
Have you made it to your Texas seminar yet?
so Texas is in October, Kylie.
Oh, how exciting. I can't wait to hear about that.
So you can imagine Texas in October, maybe Pakistan in December. My year can't get more interesting. 2024 is so exciting, but I don't know. December is still on cards, but I'm not sure. I haven't made my decision. You can still see I'm a work in progress. Still fear is conquering me with all the conditioning that's been done with Pakistan in all these years. So I still don't know, but Texas is going to be exciting.
Absolutely. Enjoy.
Thanks, Kali. Yes, I am on LinkedIn, Grace. You can find me with my full name. I'm omnipresent, every platform. It's my full name with a DR, doctor, because I spent 5 years of my prime time doing my PhD in bioinformatics. So yeah, that's my full name. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please be connected there. Yeah, follow me on socials if you want to see the crazy me. Instagram is the place, same handle, but professional, less noisy is LinkedIn. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Kirk, if you want to stay, I'll stay with you. If not, I'll stop recording.
I truly hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it just for you. Please follow Pivot to Thrive podcast on the platform you're listening to right now. It would mean the world to me if you could leave a review, and I'm so excited to see you on the next episode. Sending you loads of love, positive and healing vibes your way. Stay blessed.